Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. And tonight we're going to be speaking all about how to enhance your skin, especially if you have any skin conditions like eczema, but also if you have issues with scarring and things like that. So maybe that makes you feel a bit unconfident about yourself. But tonight, hopefully by the end of the program, you're going to feel very confident and want to make the most of your beauty. Now, we've got a range of guests tonight. First of all, we're going to be speaking to Deborah J. Kelly, who has eczema, and she's going to be talking about the struggles that she had, but also what she did to overcome it to be the beautiful lady that she is today. We also have Veronica Bentley, who's a makeup artist that also helps people to cover up scars and skin conditions as well. And also we'll be speaking to Andrew Stassi, who's going to be telling us about the new trend for semi-permanent makeup and why people should go for it. So I'm quite interested in that one because I don't know much about it, I have to admit. But first of all, let's speak to the lovely Bianca.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Well, I'm a bit full after the challenge you sent me on today.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
This lovely producer here sent me for a food challenge, which was, oh my gosh, absolutely impossible at the Thirsty Bear in...
I saw a little bit of it. I did see.
Oh
and
my
I was
goodness!
Like, wow.
You guys are going to have to wait for the video, but it was great fun. But basically, there were 4 of us, and we still couldn't finish the challenge. It's supposed to be one person that does it, which was supposed to be me, but I absolutely failed that one. But never mind.
Yeah, I think I could have done it.
But thanks to all the staff there because they were brilliant.
Yeah, were they? Yeah, I could have done it, Chris.
Like no
I feel
way.
I could have done it on my own.
Absolutely no way. It was just too much food.
My eyes are too big for my belly, though. Yeah. So it looks like I don't think I could actually, to be honest.
Definitely not. Only one person's done it in a whole year.
Really?
Yeah.
It is a huge, huge challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're going to be showing you that in about a few weeks' time, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So in the news, a designer this week has created a 12-course meal in a can, which looks a little bit like dog food, actually, the shape of the can. So Chris Godfrey, the designer, said he wanted to give the working man and woman the chance to dine like royalty without the washing up. So the full ingredients of the can are quite posh. Oh. So I'm guessing for starters...
It's like a candle.
It does look like a candle, you're right. It does look like a candle. You wouldn't eat that, would you? It's like my mum used to always have candles around the house, and that's the type of candle she'd have, that colourful one. So for starters, you've got a selection of local cheeses with sourdough bread, and you've got pickled beef with charred
Hang on, Bianca, are you serious? Is this serious?
No,
They're
it's
actually
serious.
selling this thing?
They're not selling it. It was done as like a project, it was his university funding a project.
Sorry, guys,
he wants to give it to shops to try and see if he can push it and see. You never know.
I mean, the only people I would think would actually go for something like that are maybe people that don't actually like food, don't enjoy eating, and there are, in the rare cases, there are people that just really rush their food and maybe they don't have time. But for those that actually love food like I do, and like you do, that would be a nightmare for me.
But it's more like a gimmick though, isn't it? So I guess people would buy it just because it's exciting and, let's try this out. Wouldn't you want to try it? I would.
A 3-course meal is more exciting than something in the can.
It's a 12-course meal. You've got 9 more courses, Chris. Why would you say no?
It's just a layer of nothing.
You haven't tried it. It could be
all right, okay. I'll try it then.
And then the main, something that you had this week, rib-eye steak.
Oh, yes. That's something I do.
Yeah, with grilled mushroom greens, and it's got it's also got drinks in it as well. It's got a pear ginger juice to wash it down with, and it's also got dessert. So it's got a pie with milk ice cream on a vanilla toulet, and it's got even a hazelnut latte as well. It's interesting, isn't it?
I don't know who just
I would like to try
sat down and thought of all this to do.
I think wasn't there one before though? I thought there was like a can before there was food, or this. Am I just making this up? I invented
dog food.
I'd like to see what the drink tastes like though, and the latte, to see if it's a different
Maybe our next challenge we should do that.
We should, Chris. Don't say it. It will give me ideas. And then, so this is a shocking story. A Swedish father panicked this week when his wife gave birth to the couple's 3rd baby in the family car en route to the hospital. So Mokul's Rahima said he was rushing to his wife to the hospital after her waters broke. She told me, she's coming out. And he said, I saw my daughter come out and fall head first onto the floor while he was driving of the car, and he says his eyes left the road and the car swerved into a ditch, rolling over 4 times. He said when the car stopped, Mukul said his wife was next to him and the 2 children were in the back who were 1 and 8, and they were okay, but he couldn't see the baby anywhere. So the baby was under the passenger seat, which is where the mum was, so underneath the mum, and he said he fetched her straight away and held her against him, and she was crying lots, but then the ambulance came and drove them all to the hospital, and luckily they're all in good condition now. That's shocking.
Do you know what? This actually happened to my mother-in-law last week. This car just pulled up next to her, and the door flew open, and there was this woman there already with her legs wide open having a baby.
Seriously?
And the husband was there, he was really panicking, and she had to help deliver the baby.
What, this week was it?
Yeah, no, last week.
Oh, wow.
She had to help, but afterwards he was really shaking, the husband. But imagine, it must be so scary. Luckily it wasn't the first child, I think it was their third child or something like that. So there was
Did he swerve as well?
We just pulled into it like really quickly and just like asked for help, because she was already coming out.
No way.
And she said the baby came out really clean. That's really weird.
That's strange. I know, because I imagine that story, the way it's told, it seems like the baby might have been clean. I'm not sure. Just like, I imagine it just sort of like slide. Like,
some women have babies, it's so difficult for them. They're hours in labour, and the other ones just seem to pop out.
I know. It's so strange, isn't it? I'd prefer that one, I think. And another shocker, this is even more shocking. Oh, no. A teenager, not only did she find out she was pregnant when she went to the hospital this week, she found out that she was about to give birth after she had stomach pains. So she, what happened was 17-year-old dancer Jodie Smith had no idea she was pregnant, but because she didn't put on any weight, or she didn't have any warning signs.
How is that possible?
That's what I'm saying, Chris. I'm like, that's shocking. So she suddenly, basically, she had some stomach cramps, and she told her mum, and her mum rushed her to A&E because it was quite severe. And then just 5 hours later, Jodie gave birth to 8 pounds 4 ounces boy. And it's a big baby too.
That's a huge baby. How could she not know?
I know. So yeah. So she asked.
I know, like for example, in the case of like very large ladies,
yeah,
you can be pregnant and you can't really tell because they're already large. But
she didn't. We had a picture of her. She didn't look like, she wasn't very large or anything.
No,
she was just
that's
like
really
just average size. And that's the little baby.
Yeah,
shocking,
she
isn't
well,
it?
from what I could, no, she's.
That's what I mean. Look, she's a young 17-year-old girl.
Anyway,
and so she asked the hospital, why didn't she have any symptoms, or why didn't she see any weight gain? And they said this does happen quite a lot, and it's happened quite a few times.
That's unbelievable.
That's shocking, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of nice to keep your figure then while you're having a baby, but it's like, again, she wasn't prepared to have a baby. Probably nothing's ready at home. And,
exactly. And she said she was like doing
surprise.
She was still dancing 3 times a week and doing really big dance performances. Just a week before, she was in a massive play. All that time, she didn't know she was pregnant. That's shocking, isn't it? And so anyway, so the mum rang the boyfriend Danny to tell him, and he, of course, he said, "You're joking. I don't believe you." And then it only sunk in when she said, "You've got to come to the hospital," and he then saw the baby there, but he didn't believe it.
Was it their first one?
Yeah, it was their first child. You wouldn't believe it, would you?
No. Well, he had no time to run off, did he? I've got to stay now.
And so in an unusual advert this week, a 29-year-old French nurse is offering a breastfeeding service to male gay couples for £86 a day. So the ad came out with just a couple of months after a same-sex marriage and adoption ruling was passed in the French government. The ad, which has been approved on the website, which I thought was quite shocking, says that she is a young mother in a perfect health, a trained nurse of 29, and I'm renting my breasts to milk feed infants. She promises up to 10 feeds a day and is located near Paris. So I think it's shocking.
She says, they bring the baby to her and she breastfeeds them.
And she says, I've received more than a dozen requests, but not only half of them were serious. Like the others were just
That's going to be a bit strange because they're going to bond. The babies are going to bond with her.
That's what I think as well. Yeah, because you bond, don't you, when it's that breastfeeding? I think that
must be quite stressful for the baby because then all of a sudden that baby's been taken away from
and the connection's lost. And I don't think it should be allowed. And then so the chief executive of the website says that it's normally illegal in France to sell maternal milk, but this is a person proposing a service and not selling the milk in flasks. But I think that's like similar sort of thing, isn't it?
That's weird.
I can't believe she's gotten away with it.
No,
I don't think that's right. As that was in France anyway. And also this week, an armed police raided a couple's house in the middle of the night after they got calls with a man with a gun that turned out to be a TV remote control. So Keith Abraham said that I had only been sat in bed and dozed off. The next thing I know, I'd been ordered out of bed at gunpoint, and his partner Michelle earlier suffered a panic attack and called a paramedic. While treating her, he thought he had seen Keith holding a gun. So the paramedic called the police, and the police came round. And Michelle says that the room was dark, but I can't see how you mistake a remote control as a weapon. I can't see that, how you can do that as well. And she said that I just remember a bang like an earthquake and seeing police pointing guns at Keith. And she said, I've never seen a gun before like that. They were questioned at their house and searched before being released without charge. They were taken away and everything. And Keith says he was left to make his way home dressed only in a vest and boxer shorts. That's not very nice, is it?
No,
but since then, the couple have made a complaint about it, and I thought, too right, good on them, isn't it?
Gosh.
That's really bad though, isn't it? Poor man. Imagine, I'd like to have got a picture of Keith walking home in his vest and boxer shorts.
I'm sure you would.
Poor thing. And another story. So a woman may have broken a world record this week, but not in a good way, Chris.
Oh,
so
no.
a woman from South Korea failed her driving test in, guess how many seconds?
Seconds?
Yeah, just 7 seconds.
7 seconds? What did she do? She must have pulled out with the car coming in.
So what happened? So the woman, basically, she drove off too quickly and veered off the side of the road to the left-hand side. So she, like, I don't know what she did. She must have pressed too heavily on, you can see the pictures here. She must have pressed too heavily on the accelerator.
Oh, no.
And the driving examiner started yelling at her, brake, brake, brake. The woman stopped and said, and the car started turning on its side. So she broke too heavily or tried to swerve it, and it swerved too heavily.
She must have really panicked.
Yeah, so she started saying, what do I do, what do I do? And then the driver instructor said, press the brakes, what are you doing, not even knowing which pedal you're pressing? And he said, I'm going crazy, get me out of this car. And I'm guessing she didn't pass.
Does it say how many times she tried to
No,
pass
it didn't say. It doesn't say, it just said she just failed her driving test.
If that's her first time, she's going to be...
Did you pass first time, Chris?
Yeah, I did actually.
Did you?
Yeah,
I thought you were
we have to go to a break, Bianca.
Oh no!
But I did. Yeah, it was a nice experience. I had a nice instructor, but he used to clap me around the head though when I made a mistake. It's not allowed nowadays. It was quite a long time ago. Yeah, it's a nice Greek man.
I was the third time mine.
Really?
Third attempt. Don't ask about the others.
Okay. Well, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much, lovely.
Okay, darling.
All right, so after the break, we're going to be speaking to Deborah and Veronica about the type of makeup you can use if you are going for any skin conditions or you have any scarring. So do stay tuned for that. And if you have any questions, do email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back. Now, before I speak to my next guest, let's take a look at what people on the streets of London had to say about their confidence.
Well, it's a lovely boiling hot day and we're here in Camden with the Chrissy B Street team.
Hello. Hello. And today we're going to go around and ask people on a scale of 1 to 10 how confident they would rate themselves. So what about you, B? How confident would you say you are?
Well, it really depends. If I'm sort of wearing a tracksuit and trainers and my hair's not done, I haven't got any makeup on, I feel a little bit low and my confidence levels are quite low. But if I'm going out with friends and family and I've got a lovely dress, my hair's nice, I feel a lot more confident in myself and I feel a lot more happier as well within my look and my appearance, that is. What about you, Barbs?
Well, I would say that personally, if I have, say, a bad night's sleep and my mood's a bit affected and I'm feeling a bit tired and a bit more vulnerable, or maybe things keep going wrong, you know. So I think for me, circumstances and moods and, you know, times of month or whatever, it can kind of really can affect my confidence level quite dramatically. Now, what about you guys? Jamie, what do you think? 1 to 10?
I'd say I probably average out about an 8.
Okay, so that's pretty high, that's good. What about you, 1 to 10?
I would say about 8.
Okay, great. That's so 2 confidence ones, yay. Right, so let's go and ask the people what they think, yeah?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Probably, I think, give myself an 8.
Really? I would have said 10 because of the hair that you've got. You must be quite a confident person to be out there with your look. So you say 8 to 10? 8?
8, yeah.
About 9 or 10.
Yeah, that's quite high, pretty high. Did it ever change? Did it go up or down?
When I was younger, I always felt really self-confident, didn't have a lot of self-esteem, and then I realised we've got one life. You've just got to enjoy it, and you're your own person. So you take what you have and you make it yours, and that's all that matters.
8,
And is that today or generally?
generally.
So you're pretty confident, yeah?
Yes, pretty.
10,
10?
100%.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Well, I feel it depends for me. It's my surroundings. If I'm happy with the people around me, if I know everything around me, I will be, yes, fully confident. But sometimes going to a new place, meeting new people and doing new things, yes, sometimes you are a bit hesitant. So let's say maybe 6 or 7.
At the moment, yeah, because I'm actually out here selling, so pretty high. It has to be high, otherwise I'm not going to make any money. So it'd be somewhere between 8 and 10, you know.
Okay, and then, so you said that's now how you feel. Is there times where your confidence, will you say, was on a lower to that scale?
Yeah.
And why would you say that is?
Usually it's down to like being physically worn out. So when you're physically drained and you haven't got the energy to actually function properly and you can't, what's the word? You can't communicate with people in a way, you know, like in a confident way, you know.
I'm going to go for a 7.
7, okay, cool. What about you?
Probably an 8.
Would you say that your numbers change through different like patches of your life, like, or do you think you've always sort of been around that mark?
I'd say it probably changes. Like, it probably used to be less, I'd probably say.
And why was it less before? What made you get higher?
Just getting older, really, and having more experiences and stuff like that. But yeah.
And what about you? Have you always been around that mark?
No, definitely not. As in, like, you definitely, the older you get, the more confident you get. You just kind of get used to yourself.
Some interesting responses there, and I found it quite interesting where two of the men that were interviewed there, they were talking more about confidence related to what they do rather than their looks, and then the women were sort of talking more about the way they look. So women are definitely more aware of their looks and everything, so it's quite interesting. But first, let's talk to Deborah and Veronica that I have with me here. Lovely ladies, how are you?
Hello. Hello, very good, yes.
Okay, so I won't ask Deborah, I won't ask you on a scale of 1 to 10. So we saw the interviews there, so most sort of the men were averaging around 8, weren't they?
Yes.
Even our two like reporters there.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Well, we were just discussing it.
Yes.
Like, what number would you put for yourself? And it was, and her response was interesting.
What was your response? I might as well ask you.
My response was, when I'm dressed up
Yeah.
and I'm covering up the eczema that I have, I would be an 8.
Right.
And I would wear that confidence. When I am at home and I'm suffering, it would be a 1.
Really?
Yes.
That's bigger jump.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you, Veronica?
Oh, about myself.
You weren't expecting that.
No, I wasn't. Sorry. No, it's okay. I guess on a lesser scale, I guess all women probably feel more confident when they feel like they look their best.
Definitely,
and so, of course, you're going to have a different attitude, because confidence is all about attitude anyway.
Yeah.
And if you feel great, then and you look great, then you're going to be okay with it all.
That is
So
so true.
I guess when everything's falling into the right place, then I would say 7 or 8 as well. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm about that. But I definitely know what you mean when sort of makeup's on. You do feel a lot different.
Oh, definitely.
But tell us about your story
definitely.
first of all, Deborah, because you've been through quite a lot, haven't you?
Yes,
Tell us about that.
Well, I was born with eczema, and I've sort of had it all my life really, but it came back with a vengeance. When I was in my 30s, it got really bad, and it resulted in hiding away actually, because of the responses I had from people when they did see my skin. It
Really,
was
what
weeping.
kind of thing would they say?
It kind of looked like burns, and people would just yuck, really, and you would see their faces change, and I'd have to wear bandages, and it resulted in septicemia. It was quite serious. It poisoned my blood, and so I went through that whole process of trying to get advice. I was taken under hospitals, and they had all these new wonder drugs and tablets and steroids and just absolutely everything.
But how were you feeling as a person, like as a woman going out and stuff? How was that affecting your relationships maybe, or work and stuff like that?
It affected everything, because when you're looking for a cure, your focus is on that, and your focus is on trying to get better. So therefore you don't really have a lot of time or energy for anything else. I was lethargic with it. I was quite sad for obvious reasons, because it was itchy, it was irritating me all the time. So, life was really quite
it constantly
tough,
itchy,
and constantly. I mean, I had it all over my body. At one point I actually had and I don't talk about this a lot, it's taken me a long time to be able to talk about it. I mean,
and I think you're very brave and brilliant to come on a live show and talk about this as well.
I wanted to inspire people to, to try to get out there, because the problem is, I mean, I had bodysuits, proper bandages that I used to put all over my body, and when I hit my 40s, I suddenly realised that I'd wasted nearly 10 years hiding away and not really doing what I wanted to do. Like, my dreams were thwarted, and all of a sudden in my 40s, really, that was paramount for me, that all of a sudden I thought, well, why not, get back out there, do what you can, try to be inspired, because
It's like you got
just
fed up
didn't
of
get
just
better.
hiding away, didn't you?
Yes.
But you're going to tell the viewers more about that. I'd just like to speak
Yes.
to you as well, because you went through eczema yourself, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
how was that?
When I was a teenager and as a child, but we were discussing that earlier too. That I found it was a little bit to do with the climate. For me, that's kind of would help when I'd go back to where we'd go back to the States, where it was really warm and sunny and a bit humid. I found that after a couple of weeks, it would actually start to ease. And then we'd come back to England and I'd have it again. And then I went to a homeopath when I was in my early 20s, and I just never came back.
How did it used to make you feel, and like being with other, like maybe your friends?
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff?
I didn't ever want to wear a short sleeve T-shirt or anything because all the pigmentation had gone here, and I'd have it all up as a teenager too, and it was all over my neck. And you get teased at school, and people would think they were love bites or something because there was marks on your neck, and you would always want to be covering everything up. And back then too, they didn't have the kind of products that we do now. I mean, back then I say, 20 years ago, they've really moved on the formulations of all the different types of products that are available. So now there's a lot more available that's better to use. Because back then it was just everything was flaky, and it was nothing really covered it up. I felt anyway.
Well, there was the old Derma blend. Do you remember the Derma blend?
Drying.
Awful. Do you remember?
No.
Thick makeup. I mean, literally, you'd be able to go like that, and you would have nails full of it. I mean, it was just revolting, and that was what you would use to hide the scars. And so that was all we had.
Now you obviously do a really great job with your makeup, because you can't see anything at all, any eczema, nothing.
Yes.
So, but just before we go to break, how did you actually make that decision to say, okay, now I've had enough, I'm not going to hide away anymore? What was it that actually prompted you to make that decision?
I'd have to say it was a life-changing situation when I hit I literally turned 40, and I thought, oh my God, I'm not married. I've worked so hard for different things, but I don't want to share it on my own without a husband. And I obviously have a lovely husband now, so I'm very lucky.
Sitting over there watching.
And it was just a thing of, well, let me experiment. Let me see whether there are things that are available that could help me to live with what I have.
Do you wish you'd done that earlier?
Yes.
Because it's like you maybe missed opportunities.
I'm making up for lost time now. I feel like, although I am 47, I feel like I'm 30, and I feel like I've rediscovered.
47?
Yes,
you don't look it. She doesn't look it.
It's probably the makeup that I've discovered, but I suddenly feel like I've got so much to do now in such a short space of time, because I really do feel that I wasted a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's still a struggle. I mean, I still have to wear bandages at night sometimes. I'm still taking steroids.
But the great thing is that you did something about it, and that's what the whole show is about, because we want to inspire viewers. So if you are watching and you're going through something like this, and you're hiding away, you're thinking that you can't achieve anything in life because you don't have the confidence, we're going to change your mind by the end of this program. So do join us afterwards, and we're going to be speaking more to both of them. Welcome back. Well, I still have the lovely ladies with me, Deborah and Veronica, and very shortly we're going to be seeing some photographs of Deborah without her makeup. Now, she's very bravely allowed us to show the pictures, but just before that, Deborah, let's have a word with Veronica. Can you tell us a bit about sort of what a person can do, maybe if they do have scarring or they have skin problems, what they can do with makeup?
Okay, well, something like rosacea, which causes very red skin, basically you need to neutralize the color. In order to neutralize red, you would use green. So there are a few companies that do a primer that you would put on perhaps after your moisturizer and before your foundation, and it has a green tint to it, and that helps to tone that down. And then you would just layer thinly with your foundation, and then set with a powder on top. Any concealer goes on after the foundation as well. But with that green tinted primer, it really tones that down. So that would be something for you to try.
Definitely.
And you can get palettes as well. They're concealer palettes that would have the range of all those different colors, so you neutralize different things. So the green would be in that as well, and that's great for anything that's red, so any blemishes that you would get or any scarring where it is towards that color, it would take that away.
My sister used to carry around this green stick, actually, because her nose used to go really red, and she used to just sort of it was just a green stick that she used to carry around like a lipstick.
But that's what works.
Yeah.
And I think also there's great new formulations now. Everything's so much more advanced. We don't have that. It's not from the cakey olden days where everything was literally plaster on thick, and there was no kind of light formulas that still had the same effect. So,
okay. And what if someone has maybe deep scarring where it's actually cuts or something like that? Is there anything that they can do about that?
Well, it's difficult. It's basically again just using a great, having a great skincare routine, and cleansing, toning, and moisturizing, and using good products that work for your skin type. You know, really figuring out whether you're oily or dry or have combination skin, and then using the right products for that, and then using a great coverage makeup. Now, with something where your skin is uneven, light reflective is always good. It deflects the light out and doesn't, so it doesn't look like, it's not a heavy matte kind of look. So you want to kind of stay away from that, the heavy, even though it sounds like that would be the opposite of what you should do. You should just kind of keep it light and fresh.
Okay. And what about sort of maybe if someone does have maybe like, can't expect like a maybe dent, or maybe, for example, when someone has chicken pox or something like that, and they kind of pick it and they've got this little kind of hole.
Okay, so beyond what I can do then for something like that, perhaps something like microdermabrasion, the skin peels, that kind of thing, which will freshen up the skin, the top layers of the skin anyway. That's something that people have had success with as well.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, chicken pox. I mean, I have one. But it just is the kind of,
So there is always something a person can do. They can't shouldn't just sit around and mope, because there is something that they could do. But sometimes when people look in the mirror and they don't like what they see, it's like, what's the point of doing anything? I can't be bothered. It's not going to work anyway. And they don't have that sort of oomph in them to actually go and do something about it.
There is something out there, there's a product out there for everyone that will work for you. Sometimes it just might take you a little bit longer to find the right one for you.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know where to go sometimes.
No.
It's searching to find the right thing.
It is. It's talking to everyone and talking to people with the same, situation.
What about when someone has a skin allergy or something? Because obviously some cosmetics, they're not very good for the skin, and that because they're perfumed and stuff like that.
Well, I'd say the best place to start is always with a product that's made specifically for sensitive skin, something that's fragrance-free, and would then also, like, the less chemicals basically the better, so there's so many natural and organic skincare ranges out there now that are fantastic. So
there's always an option then for
definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deborah, what do you actually use then? Because I've just been told the photos have gone amiss, so
you're
gonna have to
really?
yes.
Oh dear.
I don't know if they managed to find them. You haven't found them, guys, while Deborah speaks to. No one's talking to me. Okay, so just tell us about what you do then to cover up the eczema and the kind of things that you.
It's quite interesting because Veronica was talking about microdermabrasion, and I actually founded a beauty school, which is henceforth the eyelashes and the beautifying. I'm absolutely loving it, I have to say. But all of these things would be contraindication for me. Things like microdermabrasion because of the rosacea. And if you've got eczema, you can cross-infect it across the face. Gosh. So although we do wonderful things at the school, a lot of those things I actually can't do for myself. So
it's interesting that you went into that though, so just as a side thing.
Because well, in fact, part of it happened when I moved to Essex, and I don't know whether there's this Essex bug that happens all of a sudden with fake tans and eyelashes, but I mean, I'd never had a fake tan or eyelashes before I got to Loughton, so there definitely is something that's going on there. It's like this disease,
It's in the water.
It's in the water. So yeah, and I'm loving it because I just feel like I missed out on all of that, and now it's kind of like I'm like a baby with a new toy. I found all these different things, and they're distractions. Because a person looks at my hair, or they look at me and they say, oh, I like your makeup. They're not looking at the skin, so they're not actually focusing in on the scars. I know where they are.
And you've got lovely eyes as well, so that distracts too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, well.
No, I was telling her in the agreement because you were pointing out some of your eczema. Yes. I told her I didn't actually notice until she'd actually pointed it out to me. I hadn't actually noticed it, and that's another thing. Sometimes we're so paranoid about certain things, and other people sometimes they haven't even seen anything. They're just sort of taken by something else about your character maybe, or your eyes or something else. They're focused on something completely different. But it's us when we start, I don't like my ears, I don't like my nose, I don't like...
look at them.
And then they start sort of staring and it's like, just don't say anything. They probably haven't noticed.
and that is true, because if I do point things out, people notice the hyperpigmentation. So the colours come out of my skin. And then, of course, they start looking for, oh, yes, I see. Oh, yes. And there it goes. And I used to walk into a room and think that people were looking at me and looking at my skin, because that was the part of me that I wanted mostly to hide. So I really understand Veronica here, because in my 20s, I would not show my arms at all. Literally, I would have long sleeves on all the time. You know, I would always be hiding everything. But the one place you can't hide it is the face.
Yeah.
And you know that's the hardest thing for me, because you could wear a polo neck up to here, but you can't hide your face. So
tell us about the kind of makeup, what you do.
I wear kind of photographic makeup that you would wear for television and stage and screen. So it really is thick. You know, it's a Studio Fix, by MAC. I find that Benefit is very good. They've got powders and they're very, very thick. I can't remember what they're called, but I've got several different colours, and often I'll lighten my face, which I think you were saying. So I lighten my face and then I put the makeup back on to darken it again. Right. So I'm actually taking away the redness first and foremost, and then, so I'm kind of painting a picture really. So I've got maybe 4 or 5 layers of makeup on today, and that's, you know, that's giving me that sort of appearance of a flawless skin tone.
So how long does it take you to do?
Really. For this particular show, it took me an hour. So that was, you know, putting lots of powders on, lots of foundations on. I find organic spray tans are absolutely fantastic.
I was going to ask about that, because you've got a lovely tan, but
fantastic for hiding scars. And I've actually done a course, so we you know, we teach it as well, where we can actually spray to hide, you know, scars, broken capillaries. You know, you were talking about things like the acne scars and things like that. You can even give somebody a 6-pack or a 4-pack now by spraying. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's, you know, but you could do anything with it. So, and I just feel that, you know, I'm confident with that. And when
what would you say to someone, Deborah, that's maybe at home now watching, and they're really, maybe they even find it difficult to get off bed in the morning because of the way they feel about themselves? Maybe not eczema, maybe anything that, a skin condition or scarring, what would you say to them?
I mean, I've been there for such a long time, and you know, it's very difficult to have an enthusiasm about wanting to get out of bed if there's nothing exciting waiting for you as well, you know, because you're on this cycle, it's a downward spiral. I mean, certainly emotionally there are things, and I'm not a GP, but that would pick you up. Certainly I'm not on anything like that, but you know, I'm happy I've kind of lifted myself out of that. But when you're in the doldrums, you might need something that can help you, because the problem is things like steroids can cause depression. So, you know, you are on this cycle where you'll take one thing to help you, and then it may spiral into you having to take other things, because, you know, what you've taken has caused a chain reaction.
But one thing that really made an impression on me, what you said, was just like it was like a decision that you made.
Yes.
It's one day you got fed up and you said, you know what, I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to hide away anymore. I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to start living my life.
Yeah, I had to.
And that's what you have to do sometimes. Because don't think, if you're watching, I don't think you're the only one that's going through this. There are plenty of people like Deborah and even you as well, Veronica, that have been through it, but they've done something about it. There are people that can help you. There's lots of different things. If you do a bit of research, and if you want to get in touch with us as well, we can put you in touch with people that can help you. But whatever you do, don't hide away, and don't start thinking that your life is over because of it, because there's always something you can do, and there's always people that are willing to help you, including the lovely ladies here. But we are going to go to a quick break now, but thank you so much, and you know, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's brilliant. And Veronica, thank you so much for your advice as well.
No, thank you.
And if people do want more information about our guest this evening, you can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv, and also you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. Now, after the break, we're going to speak to a gentleman called Andrew Stassi, who's going to be telling us about semi-permanent makeup. And maybe this is something that you've never actually considered, but I was doing a bit of research to see what the benefits are, and there are quite a few. I was really surprised. So he's going to be giving us more details about that and lots more. So do join us after this. Welcome back. Well, very shortly we're going to be speaking about the benefits of semi-permanent makeup. But to introduce our next guest, let's take a look at this video.
Imagine waking up every day with subtle, natural makeup already in place, so that all you have to do is shower and go. Strategic placement of pigment within the lash line will create a look that's fresh and alive all of the time. tired eyes will sparkle and your eyeliner will look perfect in and out of water and will remain smudge-free 24 hours a day. Andrew Stassi, founder of Smudge Free, has developed techniques to create individual eyebrow hairs which result in the most lifelike appearance. Gone are the days of solid block eyebrows. With Smudge Free's techniques, only you will know you've had them recreated and they will look completely natural. Lips which are uneven, have lost their colour with age or simply lack definition can be subtly redefined and blush to bring back their youthful appearance. The balance and symmetry can be once again restored with Andrew Stassi's techniques using the latest in digital technology and innovations. For your safety, the pigments and products used at Smudge Free are of pharmaceutical grade, containing only the purest ingredients. The treatment is both safe and medically approved and is highly recommended for those who suffer from conventional makeup allergies. Smudge Free also specialises in treatments for both men and women with hair loss conditions such as alopecia and has developed techniques to keep the appearance totally natural.
Wow, what a big difference then. We've got the man himself next to me, Andrew Stassi. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
Good evening, thank you very much.
Now, I have to say, I didn't really know anything about this subject, and it was never something that I would think, oh, I would ever do, because it sounds a bit scary, basically. But why do you think people have these kind of misconceptions about it?
I think because there's a lot of work outside, which you can see, which has been very badly done.
Yeah.
So people see it and they think, oh, it's not something I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
But you know, when it's carried out by a professional who knows what they're doing,
yeah,
then there's nothing to worry about. It's going to be you'll have a really perfect procedure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, what we saw there looks very natural. It doesn't look like anything's really been done. It just looks like the natural look of the person, which is great.
Well, basically what they do is they come in, we'll have a consultation, then we'll do go through the drawing, make sure everything's okay, and then we'll do the procedure, and nothing is done until the client is absolutely satisfied.
Right. Now, I think something that maybe scares people is the word permanent. Can you tell us what? It's not really permanent,
It's actually not permanent, it's semi-permanent.
Yeah.
There is a misconception, which in the States they call it permanent makeup.
Yeah.
In the UK we choose to call it semi-permanent makeup, and the reason is because there are still particles that remain in the skin, but the aesthetic effect doesn't remain visually.
Okay.
So they call it permanent makeup, but it's actually not, it's semi.
Okay. Now, what type of people, because I was actually I can go through this list because I was reading up about it, and apart from what we saw there on the video, we mentioned alopecia and things like that. But also, I mean, this could be like for anyone really, because it says as well, people with a busy lifestyle and don't have time to apply makeup every day, or maybe don't enjoy doing it. That's an option for them as well.
It's actually a broad spectrum of people that will go for it. Career people, people that are working in a very high power work where they need to look perfect, for instance, maybe on TV. They would, instead of them going away to apply their makeup several times a day, they'll have this which is there and have to give a natural enhancement.
True. Yeah, that would be really good. Also, sports activities. Obviously, when someone maybe is a swimmer or sweats a lot because of the sports they're doing, and maybe they are on TV as well, that's another good thing for them too, isn't it?
Well, yeah, of course. Anyone that's in that kind of environment, they'll have to apply their makeup several times a day, and have this applied will be just a one treatment, and they'd have it done, have it refreshed maybe once every 18 months or so.
18 months.
Yeah,
wow.
it lasts that long.
Okay. All right, and obviously we saw there about the eyebrow loss. Also, it's saying here asymmetrical features. Maybe if you don't have features that, because we're all a bit different, aren't we? But like
no one's far side of the face is the same.
Yeah,
it's different.
So that can correct that as well.
Well, if you're, for instance, if one eyebrow is a lot higher than the other, you can create the balance. If lips are uneven, they can be made symmetrical. You know, by creating the aesthetic effect.
Now, obviously here as well, it's saying oily skin and cosmetic allergies.
Well, people that suffer with conventional makeup, this will be ideal for them.
And it doesn't affect them in any way?
No, not at all. Oh, wow. It's all pharmaceutical grade pigment. It's very, very safe.
Yeah, okay then. And also this one that I found really interesting, because sometimes we take it for granted when, you know, ladies, when we're putting our makeup on, we can do it easily and everything. But for people that can't see very well, or they have a sight problem or something like that, or even like their hands are unsteady, something obviously that we don't think about unless we're going through it. It must be really, really hard to put makeup on.
Well, of course, even as you get older, your eyesight diminishes.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know, you need to put glasses on to see. You're going to be hitting the lens, so it's very difficult. Also, if you're suffering with a shaky hand, you know, just the aging process itself is, you know, it's good for those.
So it's something that you can consider as you're getting older as well. Now, I was going to ask you a question, it's completely gone out of my head. Is it painful? That's the thing.
Well, we numb the area first with a topical anaesthetic cream, so it's very, very comfortable.
Okay. And what type of people would your clients, is it mainly women that you get?
It is mainly women. I do get men as well.
What do they the men normally come from, just to be nosy?
Well, no, I mean,
I've got some things.
Some men will suffer with vitiligo, which is a skin condition, so we can bring the colour back into the skin. Or people who have lost their eyebrows through alopecia, they can have it recreated. And we work in hair strokes, so it looks very natural.
Yeah, it does, like we saw. Okay, we've got some pictures coming up now. Okay, let's take a look at these. So, okay, so obviously no eyebrows. So, a bit slower, guys, inside. Let's see the before. Okay, this must be the after, right? Okay, that's the before. Okay.
That's for vitiligo in the lips.
Oh, right, okay. I was looking at the... And this one?
This is a lip enhancement.
Right, okay. So maybe, if there are people that are not feeling very...
This is a recreation of eyebrows in hair simulation.
Because eyebrows are quite hard to get right sometimes, aren't they?
They are, but you have to work on it.
Okay, so ladies, would you ever consider semi-permanent makeup after seeing that?
I have semi-permanent makeup. I'm not allowed, I don't know if I'm allowed to call it semi-permanent makeup, am I?
You can call it whatever you like.
I've got the brush strokes.
Okay, and how have you found that?
And that's because I've got patchy eyebrows.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean it's really good, and you don't have to worry about it. You just get up in the morning and there they are. So,
shower and go.
Exactly. You see, you haven't got to worry about them smudging at the end of the night, and you've got one up there. So
that's the point. Yeah, I have to stop myself from doing that because I've got some. Anyway, never mind. We won't talk about that. But definitely, definitely for the eyebrows, I think it's great because eyebrows are quite difficult to maintain sometimes, and so it's definitely a good thing.
They're the one thing that they thin out as well with age for everybody, regardless. Yes. And people overpluck, don't they? They get a bit enthusiastic in their teens and early 20s.
I've done that before several times. Still haven't learned my lesson.
Yeah, they don't tend to grow back as easily.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Andrew, for that. So like we say, as I said before the break as well, there's always something you can do to enhance your beauty. Remember, you do have your own beauty. I can't remember the exact words of someone that we interviewed there. Oh, what was it she said? It was such a good quote, and I can't remember what she said now. She said, make whatever you have. Anyway, basically what she was saying was that everyone has their own individual beauty in some sense, and you just have to make the most of what you have. Don't compare yourself to other people. You're not that other person. Believe me, if you go and speak to that person, they've probably got their own hang-ups about something. Just look at yourself in the mirror, see what you've got that's lovely about you, and make the most of it. That's all, and that can also build your confidence. But thanks so much for watching the show today. Thank you to all my guests tonight. And if you do want more information, like I said, do visit the website, chrissybshow.tv. And it's Friday today, so do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we're going to be back again on Monday with more great topics to talk about. Bye-bye for now. I'm surprised we were actually talking to someone inside, weren't we, that they were from Thingy. So there was a gentleman. Wait. Barbs, there was a gentleman.
Wait, Barbara, you look. Right, okay. Okay, but you're moving.
Please do come along and visit this place. It's great because you really get. And guys, if you do want something more adventurous, if you want to have some really fun time. So, what else can I ask?
They can visit, they can go to visitleevalley.org.uk where they can...
3. Sorry. You've been through just way too much today, Chris. 3. I'll tell you what, we'll give it.
Don't! I'm gonna be worse.
Alright.
Okay.
3.